please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Today is December 6, 2018. It's the Environmental Conservation Board. We have an agenda that we're going to go through. But first, I'd like to mention that we have a new member on our board, Julie McKeon. John Starace has gone to the Zoning Board. He's given us a valuable, it's been very nice working with him these couple of years. He's going to be missed, but I'm sure Julie's going to fill in, pick up the shoes like where they left off. So I want to wish the best to John and welcome Julie.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, the first item we have is eligible for a permit. The applicant is the Retreat.
I'm going to recuse myself, please.
How did I know that was coming? So could you please come to the podium and state your name and who you're here to represent?
I'm Paul Lynch from Putnam Engineering, and I'm representing the HOA, the Retreat at Carmel.
Okay, Paul, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so this is for the Retreat at Carmel, tax map 5514-1-11.2, relinquishment of the pitch and putt. At the last meeting we were here, right now you're eligible for a permit. We had posted it and we received some letters from the community, the HOA, and just to make this clear, this application is for the Retreat at Carmel HOA.
Correct.
Okay. So, with that being said, on your plan, there's been requests in the letters that some trees be planted, that the sand traps be removed, the bridge be removed, and some of the holes, I think it was some other stuff. Remove all sand traps, remove all hole cuts, remove the bridge in the wetlands, and add some trees in the buffer. I can't give a bond, Pulte can't give us a bond for this because this is your application. It's coming to us. This is not he did not come here before us, the HOA came before us.
Correct.
HOA can provide a bond, though, yes?
They can, but I'm not going, it's their application.
Sure.
For their home, and I think there were there's no bond required. Because it's their own, they're doing work on their own property, right? So it's not like they have a developer working on the property, they're doing their own work on their own HOA where they pay into. So if it dies, they're gonna replace whatever they wanna replace, right?
Have we ever required a homeowner to?
No.
Okay.
So, I know, I mean, I'll make the motion to grant the permit with the following conditions on it, as stated.
Hold on, I would like to have just a quick discussion, because there were a couple of letters and a number of signatures, and
A lot of signatures.
there was back and forth, actually, between the comments we received, whether or not the bridge should be removed. So that was one item, was in one letter indicated that there was a request to have it removed. There was, in another one, it was a request to leave it in case people wanted to avail themselves of the natural walks in there.
Right.
So we certainly can have a discussion about that.
Well,
But I do agree with the metal cups of the holes. Those should probably be removed.
We indicate that gets taken out on the plan.
and you also, what about
We also indicated the liners underneath the sand traps would be
be
removed.
removed?
The plan was basically to leave the sand, pull it up and just put the sand back down and let Mother Nature take its course, as opposed to trucking in fill, or, you could excavate
And
and then
mix it.
mix it. But the whole idea was to try to limit the amount of disturbance, so you didn't have to install silt fences.
You can even do that with shovels, or,
Yeah,
Go in there
it's,
with an equipment anyway.
because you're gonna go out there anyway with a backhoe to pull it out. So, I mean,
Do we have
it
pictures
can
of
be
sand
done.
traps? How many sand traps are we talking about here?
I think there are 3, off the top of my head.
I mean,
And what
gonna-
they are,
I'm
they're
gonna
really
make this
just,
as easy- I mean-
they're basically a child's play area.
Yeah.
If you put wooden boards around it, you go out there and that would be your dirt pile to play in. They're
Okay.
not a sand trap, like if you were
It's not
watching
like
the
you're Putnam
PGA
County,
golf or anything
More like a
like that.
sandbox.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's just,
litter box. So,
And I do agree with I think requesting trees is appropriate, for sure. Bridge,
there's nothing in the,
well, we indicated the bridge to be removed,
yeah.
yeah,
for the simple fact that if you're gonna let everything
go back.
grow
back.
back,
Shouldn't have it.
you're not gonna be able to get to the bridge
That's
without,
I have no
without
issue-
going in there with a
I
machete
have no
to-
issue with the bridge,
with
I have
whacking your
no
way in.
issue with the sand, I have no issue with the metal cups. It's the trees, how many, I mean, I'm giving you the option of how many do you want to install?
I would answer it this way. Since the residents are looking for Pulte to cover this cost,
Okay,
so they're, in essence, they're negotiating. I wouldn't want to say you're gonna plant 25 trees in the grassed areas and have that become a sticking point in their negotiations. I'd rather just say they have,
dozen trees?
they have the ability to plant trees and not put a quantity on it.
That's actually pretty good.
And let that, and let their negotiations
Okay.
hammer out how many and
Okay.
what type.
Okay, fine. Again, because, I would love to say, but the applicant,
Because, yeah, I mean, you never know how a negotiation's gonna turn out, and the HOA could be ultimately stuck with having to pay for it,
okay, fine,
which could happen.
okay.
So then it's like, then they've committed to planting X number of trees, and it's like,
Okay, when they planning to start this work? When would they like to start this work?
I would think
Spring?
this spring,
Okay,
which is logical at this point.
at this point. Okay.
There were 2 other things that we had requested last meeting. One is on the site plan, indicate what was, like, actually on the site plan, indicate what was being removed.
We
So
did that.
Was there a new site plan submitted?
There
after?
was.
Okay.
It was really just with notations.
It's just a bubble.
Because we noted to remove the filter cloth underneath the sand traps. And the fencing's
Well, you're
coming
gonna
down.
put silk fencing up while you work on it anyway, right?
Well, the intent was not to, because basically you're just, with the fencing, you're just
It's a
pulling it
foot
out of
deep.
the ground.
On the drawings, it shows a silt fence. I believe it's a silt fence, typical. Shows it around the entire back. Unless you did the wrong plan, September 8th. September 21st. 18th. There's only one other.
Plan stated October 18th.
September.
But the intent was
October 18th.
the intent was not to put up a silt fence, it was really walk in.
Not,
And pull
That's
up
what I'm
the
just-
filter fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull the post. Because you're doing more disturbance trying to install the silt fence.
flower bed. There's only one set of drawings if I was,
Okay, we'll take your word for it.
I think it's probably like sheet 6.
maintain surf. Post and rail fence to be removed. Existing rain garden, sand bunker to have buried liner removed, fine. Post and rail demarcation sign. Sand bunker to remove, putting green typical. You didn't put any note on there about the cups, but that's a shovelful.
We can easily add that.
Yeah,
there's a white fence around the entire
Yes.
thing. Is that staying or being removed?
Be taken out.
There was another comment in the letters indicating that, again, we don't, it was a request that they remain with signs put on them saying that the wetland within the white fence.
The fence is coming down. No, it's staying?
No, it's coming down as it was planned. There was a request in the actual, somebody had put a comment submitted to us saying it wouldn't be bad if we left the white fence and put signs on them indicating that it's a wetland.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that, like, if we're removing everything,
Yeah. All right, so here's,
remove it
So it's
to-
going
so
back to
moving,
pretty
yeah,
much
we're
where it
going,
was.
Right.
are we taking the white fence out?
The plan was to take it out,
Okay,
but
so
if you wanted
fine.
it to stay,
So
you
then
could
what we'll do
stay.
is this, so then just
Doesn't matter.
take some of the wetland signs that are on the fence, put them posts in the ground, put them before you enter the area, so that people know that it demarks the wetlands.
Okay, that would be up by the parking lot, in essence.
That'd be fine. So then put the signs on posts,
On an existing fence post, is that
No.
reasonable?
or just drive some stakes in the ground to have them there.
It'd probably be easier to drive stake
All right,
in.
the fence, the white fence to be removed, and the number of trees to be determined. And everything else, then remove the sand,
remove the sand
remove sand liner,
liner.
and the cups,
Cups.
in accordance with these plans and drawings. All right, you good with all that?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Do we have to do anything special for the trees? Like, do we have to demark that anywhere? That
mean,
or that they can add trees
I'll
without
tell you what,
coming
when
back
you
before
determine the
us?
number of trees that are gonna be planted, please submit a drawing to the file.
And you could have the wetland inspector, determine that their viability for that location.
That's fine.
I would
Okay.
suggest that.
Okay, then, with that being said, I'm gonna just put all these notes in the special conditions,
That's fine.
and then that's where we're taken care of. So with that, do I have a motion to grant permit number 947 to the Retreat at Carmel HOA Incorporated Lot 4? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Lava, before you go through that, can we say a couple words?
Sure.
Thank you.
Please approach the,
My name is Spencer Tassler. I live at the Retreat. I'm here now 10 years. I've been in front of this board a few times.
yep,
Some of the members that are not here had put stipulations in, and you're referring to a bond. There is a bond that Pulte's trying to get back, and the town is in litigation with it. And we're praying things go well for the town, because maybe we'll see the money to do this, to what you're saying. But before I go on, what you're saying about trees, you have no idea what was there.
I've seen the pictures.
Not from an aerial view. There was a massive area of trees. Sorry. And if you can see the trees, you're taking out what was done after the board approved, your board approved this amenity for the three-hole pitch and putt. They came in without any rhyme or reason and took down trees tremendously. And this vegetation that should be coming back, we'll never see it in our years. And what I'm asking, and hopefully some of my community people are, and our board's not looking into it, is vegetation is gone. We killed it. Pulte killed it. And not only that, they defaulted on this property because the board asked Putnam Engineering to have a maintenance plan. They did not adhere to the maintenance plan.
I understand where you're going through. Listen, please, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all on this, but I've been through I've been through, as many times you've been here, I've been here. And I understand where we're coming for with the Pulte, situation that's going on up there. And I put Paul through the ringer to give us stuff to, when they do the design stuff. Unfortunately, I as a board do not have enforcement opportunities to do this. When they do go out there, we try to resolve the situation. They're holding his bond right now to try and make things do right, or whatever they're doing legally, I'm not privy to, but I get it, and I empathize with you. I'm sorry,
I just don't want this property to look like the Bronx vacant lot in my old neighborhood.
and I agree with you.
And what's gonna happen, that's what's gonna happen.
But again, if you want me to put in here 50 trees to be planted, I'll put 50 trees in.
I don't want you to do anything.
No,
I don't want you to do anything
This
but
is the-
go back to nature and replace what was taken out. That's all.
Go
But that's
back-
not gonna happen.
You want it back the way it was, right? Is that what you're
Absolutely.
asking? It's not gonna happen.
I know that,
Okay, so why are you asking to have it back the way
for
it was?
whatever we can get.
So then,
Well, wait a
appreciate
minute, you're negotiating
I'm
with
not
Pulte.
negotiating.
I'm gonna say you are, but the homeowners association is negotiating, correct?
But if you don't
So
put it
they're
in this
going to have to
permit,
come up with some solution. We can't solve every
No,
problem
no, I
here,
understand,
nor,
sir.
wait a minute, nor can we get it back to the pristine situation that it was.
no, I understand that.
Okay.
All I wanna do
So
is,
what do you want?
I want whatever you can do.
well, then,
So,
I'm just.
so we're trying to, so we could negotiate,
I don't think,
not with you.
with them. So I say
So if you
you're
don't put
right,
it in the
and you
permit-
should negotiate with them and get it back to the best you can.
So that's what I'm saying to you right now.
Okay.
I have the permit here. I am writing out your special conditions right now. If you want 50 trees installed, I will put in there,
I'm not gonna-
install 50 trees.
I won't vote for that. I just want to let you know.
If you want a number of, it's never gonna get back to the way, and listen,
No, I understand.
I'm with you, okay? I understand where you're coming from. If anybody on this board understands it better than anybody, then here is me, because of whatever happened years ago near me. It's not gonna look like this again. I don't know what to do to appease you folks to make this happen. We give permits based on information presented to us. We give permits based on inspections that are done by us. We give permits based on legal advice given to us. I'm following the rules that are given to me, and that's all I have to go on. Every time I drive by there, I feel bad for what's happened there, but it's out of my control. I have no teeth of enforcement. I can't do it. But if you want now, since the HOA is here right now, and you are here applying for a permit to decommission this putting green area, this pitch and putt, if you want me to put 50 trees in, 25 trees in, I will put it in. If you want 10 trees installed, I'll put it in. I can't read your mind. I can't look into the future. I can't.
No, I
So-
understand.
I'd like to, one of the things we have to take into consideration here is what's come before us is an existing plan for pitch and putt. So we have to take that at face value, meaning that there was a plan for that. It was submitted to us. It got various approvals. It went through, it's going through currently, lots of issues. But what's come before us is there is an existing pitch and putt there. And the application before us is to remove the things that were there previously, or that are there right now for this pitch and putt, and try to restore it as much as possible according to what is being requested. So when we're looking at this, we have to assume this is what's there, this is what either the homeowner or the deed owner or whoever's come before us would like to do, and we have to take in consideration, our board's job is to make sure that people are doing this in as environmentally protective way as possible, regardless of whether this is a buffer zone or it is a wetland. So what we have to judge here is not the merit of the actual, what is being done. We can't judge the job. That is not our board's position. The planning board has jurisdiction over that. There's litigation currently going on, as you had mentioned, that has the bond that is meant for if there's issues with the plan that's happening. The only thing we can judge is the plan coming before us, is it following environmentally sound procedures? Are we protecting the water quality? Are we protecting this board's charge? So when it comes to restoring this area, it's whatever the person or the entity coming before us is asking us to do. If they're telling us we want to plant 5 trees, we can approve you can plant 5 trees. If they want to plant 50 trees, they can come before us and say, we're removing a bridge, we're doing this, we're doing that. That's fine. We have to judge whether or not they're doing it in an environmentally safe and sound manner, not whether or not they're meeting some criteria that someone has put on this project outside of, are they doing it in an environmental manner? So I empathize with you greatly, I really do. And if the person coming before us, in this case, the entity coming before us, the HOA, would like us to put a certain number of trees in there, or we can request that on behalf of people who've submitted
Because the way
comments, we can do that. We certainly can.
I can't give you a number of trees.
That's
I'm
fine.
not-
We can also
I'm not
say up to a
authorized to do
certain
that
amount.
for the HOA,
Right,
but the HOA has to tell you
Right.
what they plan to do, and they neglected.
yes. I
In my
agree
opinion.
that, which is why I put in there, which is why I
No,
mentioned
I
it
understand,
before,
Mr. Barnett,
is-
and they neglected. I would like you to go back to them before you submit that and stipulate them to come back with better format of the area that exists to somehow. You do what you like to do. We have to face our
Listen,
future.
I'm not,
I'm not putting you in a dilemma, but
no,
Who's the head of the HOA?
he's not here.
Okay. All right,
so then why don't we do this? Why don't we shelve this for 2 weeks till the next meeting? I will leave this permit unsigned. I will.
I don't want you to do anything.
No, listen.
Other than you have
I'm
to.
gonna-
I don't have the authority to tell you what's going in there. Mr. Lynch and the president of our board and the other board members have to do that. I think they neglected. That's the only reason that you got mail from people, because they disagree.
And that's why I'm addressing it under the special conditions of the permit, because I read your letters, I understood your letters, and I get it, right? And I understand where you're coming from. You know, if you want, if Paul, if you want another bite at the apple till the next meeting, and you wanna come up with a number of trees for your client, and you wanna come back here in 2 weeks to do it, or you're not doing this till the spring anyway.
Mr. Locker, it's not only the trees, it's just the appearance, if there's plantings. Originally, when we had this site.
But I can only look at, and please, I can
understand.
only look at the drawings that have been provided me for the application, which, at this moment in time, which is the pitch and putt rejuvenation, the pitch and putt deletion. And that's all I can do.
Thank you for your time.
This gentleman would like to say something.
I'm just going to take 30 seconds, a minute of your time. My name is Neil Carnell. I live at 52 Blair Heights in the retreat. On an emotional basis, I agree with my neighbor, Mr. Tasler. We have all dealt with this issue for many, many years. You're in a very untenable position at this point, and it's not our purpose to push that issue further with you. We appreciate the position that you're in. What I'm asking the board to do tonight is, in the language of your resolution, even though we believe that Pulte may be both morally, legally, ethically responsible for returning this property, we understand that that's an issue to be dealt with in other ways and other times by other people. I would ask you only to create language in the resolution that does not require the HOA to be financially responsible for assuming the issue of the trees. The other issues, I think, are de minimis, quite frankly. The removal of fences and liners and so forth.
Right.
Those, I think, are de minimis issues. If we start getting into the issues of replacing landscaping and numbers of trees, we start to get into an area of financial responsibility that I think is both onerous and unresponsive to the issue, to place that level of burden on the homeowners who are yet, after 7 years, waiting for a legally required amenity on our property.
I get that, okay, and I appreciate what you're saying, but based on the fact of the application presented before me, the application presented before this board is from the Retreat at Carmel HOA Incorporated
understand.
Lot 4. My permit, the request for permit is not Pulte Homes.
I understand.
So I do not want to, based on what I'm hearing here, if I said to put in here that there's gonna be a negotiation between the HOA and Mr. Pulte to try and get some trees planted in this area, whatever I put in here will then have to be
No, I
done.
understand. And
Okay?
what I'm saying
And I
is,
can't make a resolution here to say to Paul, when you go back to your office, give Mr. Pulte a call, he's gotta start ponying up for some trees.
that's not my intent. I'm saying, let us not put in the requirement for trees. Let that be the resolution
Well, this
of a
is-
negotiation,
This is what I'd like to do.
but not part of the
This is
resolution.
what I'd like to put in here, the special conditions. Install signs, wetland on stakes, white fences to be removed. Number of trees to be determined by HOA and Pulte. That's the only sentence I put in there. Sand liner to be removed, remove cups from greens, and remove bridge. That's what I'm issuing this permit for.
Does the drawing currently call for the planting of trees?
No.
Then I would leave it out. That would be my request. Because if the negotiations between the HOA and Pulte end up or result in a
Zero
situation
trees.
with 0 trees, then the HOA assumes the responsibility, because it's part of the resolution.
However, in the way it's worded right now, it allows for the negotiation for 0 trees as well, meaning it's any number of trees, in which case,
Why don't I just put it, number of trees to be determined / negotiated by HOA and Pulte?
and the only reason I would really argue for keeping that in as a leverage point, right? One of the things that could happen is, if the HOA and Pulte do come to a negotiation on a number of trees, and that no provisions in this permit are made for planting trees, you will have to come back before this board in order to get permission to also plant those trees. So by adding it in and saying you have an option to plant trees, it gives both parties the option to say, let's put some trees in, let's figure out where they are, and we don't have to come back before this board. We're kind of giving permission for you to do that without coming back before.
I understand, and I appreciate that. We've been dealing with Pulte for 10 years, and I can tell you, their position will be 0 trees coming out of their pocketbook. So,
Okay.
Go ahead.
It sounds like the homeowners association doesn't want to be responsible for any financial aspects. Am I correct on that?
that would be my position, but I'm not on the HOA.
Okay, I understand that. I hear that. The bottom line is that the town of Carmel is not going to get in it on a legal issue to fight for you. You understand that?
I agree.
We can't. So the best thing to do is, I hate the C word, compromise, and they're going to have to negotiate. And it's time to do that and put this to bed. It's time. They have to step up to the plate. The homeowners and Pulte, get whatever you can. We're not forcing it because we don't have the legal authority to do that.
And I appreciate
And the town is not going to commit funds to fight your fight. It's not going to happen.
Good.
Okay, so then, moving forward, okay, because you're the representing the applicants as well. Before I sign this, do you want to wait the 2 weeks? Or do you want to leave it in here, number of trees to be determined / negotiated by HOA and Pulte? Somebody has to let me know.
I would leave it in there to be negotiated, number of trees.
That's it.
Okay,
Because it could be,
I'd vote for that.
negotiated.
From
I'll-
zero
instead of
to-
determined, I'll
Homeowners
put
and Pulte.
negotiated.
because then they're not financially,
By HOA and
Obligated.
Pulte, by HOA and Pulte, all right?
Right, homeowners
Should we
association
put a
and Pulte
provision in
homes.
there that those trees be approved by our wetlands inspector? Meaning they can't just put in whatever trees they want, it's gotta be something that is, right? We can't just say,
I'll put
start
an
putting palm
asterisk,
trees in.
okay?
Yeah, any,
Trees to be submitted for approval in advance, okay? All right, so, that being said, do I have a motion to grant the application number 947 to the Retreat at Carmel HOA Incorporated Lot 4 for the following? Install signs, to modify the pitch and putt at the retreat with the following conditions. Will install signs, wetland signs on stakes, white fence to be removed, number of trees to be negotiated by the HOA and Pulte, trees to be submitted for approval in advance, sand liner to be removed, remove cups from greens, and remove the bridge. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we have to just do the EAF, go pick up the permit on Monday, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Have a nice holiday. Okay. All right, we gotta do the EAF. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adapted land use, planning, or zoning regulations?
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a CEA?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action result in adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies?
No.
Public-private wastewater treatment? Will the proposed action impair the character, quality, important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in the adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, et cetera?
No.
Will the proposed action result in increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No, it should improve. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
No.
No. All right. You can come up if you'd like. Okay, next applicant, James Downey, 452 Austin Road. Replacement of leaking water line and damaged electrical service.
That's it.
That's it?
Well, first, my name is William Besharat. I am here representing Jack Corral, who happened to have a planning board meeting in
I'm sorry, can you
Patterson.
say your name again?
William Besharat.
Willie.
Willie. Just say William, they'll know
And who are
it
you
is.
here representing?
Jack Corral, the engineer.
Thank you.
He has a planning board meeting, and he told me to come in here. He said, "You'll be out of here in 10 minutes," and he lied. This is a situation where the existing well is behind the wetland that exists on the property, which consists of a pond and a running brook comes out of it.
Right?
There is a damage to the water main from the well to the house and the electrical line.
Okay.
There's a crack, and supposedly there's a short that every now and then it shorted the circuit breaker and screws things up, so they need to replace the wire and the water main. Mike Carnazzo went out there and took a look, and he said, fine, but you are within the wetlands, all your activities. There has been other activities that took place in there, such as planting of trees and some stone work, just landscape and beautifying the edges of the pond. They need to repair this well connection from the house to the, from the well to the house, as soon as it's
Are they using a
possible.
machine to dig this?
Yes, they're gonna have to, because the
Okay.
water line has to be at least 48 inches below finished
Okay,
grade.
here's the deal.
Yes.
He's gonna have to submit a spill kit, show a spill kit on here. He's gonna have to show his, and this is, how many feet is he digging?
He's probably going to be digging, I would say, every bit of 300 feet.
So that's 3 times 2,
You know,
that's 6.
2 and 2 is,
So it's
about,
not-
about
it's not the
250,
trench, it's not-
250 feet, I take
He's
that
got a
back.
450 square feet limit of disturbance? 4,000 square,
It's a trench.
4,800 feet, square feet?
How wide
48,
is
is that
the
right? Yeah.
trench?
It's about 220, yeah.
How wide's the trench?
Oh, it's gonna be like a
2 foot.
12 inches or 60, 12 inch, but you know, with the collapsing, it'll end up about 2 feet roughly.
Yeah, about 2
And the
feet.
pipe will go in there and get backfilled as they go.
You
know,
have
it's
to
not gonna-
dig up the existing electricals, they're running along the same pipe?
Yes,
That is, okay.
they were
Yeah,
running the same
line.
trench.
How deep is it gonna be?
48
The
inches.
48 inches minimum, that's
It's gonna be-
required.
It's gonna be more than 2 feet wide then.
Most likely, yeah, but you know, it's gonna be like the wire, the pipe and the wire is gonna go in there, you know, they usually use like, what, 16-inch bucket and whatever it's found, most likely like, it'll be almost like 30 inches wide by the time they're done. But the digging and the backfilling will take place almost simultaneously.
And when do they wanna do this work?
ASAP, weather permitting.
Yeah, I know, I don't wanna keep people without water. So this is what you're gonna, this is a
The spill
letter of
kit,
maintenance,
what else?
right? This would be a letter of maintenance.
Are you adding anything that is not currently existing?
No. There's no
I-
structures, there's no construction.
I noticed
It's
that
just-
on your permit, you indicated minor landscaping, what's that?
That was what I spoke about, those trees.
I think so.
If you look on the
On the plan?
south
site-
side of the property, there are trees, approximately 23 of them, that they were planted in the wetland buffer. They're already there. Those trees, all that stuff's already there.
Did you show the silt fence, where the silt fence is going?
The silt fence is gonna be basically just to protect it and then to maintain everybody within the the area of disturbance. It's really, you know, like I said, you know, it's gonna be like, work as you go. The property, these are 1-foot contours on here, and the property is fairly, you know, gentle sloping. It's not as severe as it looks here with all these,
Do they
contours.
currently have water? Meaning it cuts out, how often does it cut
Comes
out?
out, it cuts out quite often, and
Yeah.
also it comes out brown, because there's a crack in the water
Sure,
line.
I got that, okay.
And then I'll just undermine and do whatever.
Do they have water? Yes, they do have water, but it's not a
What?
Not
potable,
potable.
it's not potable water, let's put it that way. They can't drink out of it.
So
There's-
this
it's
is
not potable
basically-
water.
And this
They
is not
didn't
Flint.
issue it, they didn't issue it, but this is basically it.
Did they
This
just
would be a
plant all
notice of
these
violation.
trees?
How,
They were planted a while back, but, you know,
what's a while?
I don't know the exact dates on that, and
But they're
Mr.
existing.
They are
they're
existing,
existing,
yes.
However, it was, this wasn't on the original, on the plan. Carnaza, you sent one out there? Who went out there?
Mike Carnazzo was out there, and he, you know,
He
they
said
called
these
him up,
trees are not
and he
weren't on
just
any
said,
plans, they were planted afterwards, and so
I'm
you
not
need the permission for that, which is why they put it in here. I don't know.
say,
I don't know.
Trees. This I think we
Fine.
should just give.
I think
this is
we
what I
should
would do.
focus on what,
The water.
yeah,
I don't
exactly,
wanna
that's what
hurt
we
the people
propose,
without water. So
is
this
what
what
we're
I'm
trying
gonna
to
do.
get the clock ticking on this.
Tomorrow, you're gonna have him submit to us
Spill kit.
provide that he's gonna provide a spill kit.
Poly,
If the machine stays on site overnight, it's gonna be stored on poly,
do you know what that is? The plastic
6
sheeting?
mil poly.
Yeah.
Store.
He has to provide me a sequence of operation,
Hold on
sequence
a
of
second.
construction, meaning
I don't write that
he's gonna
fast.
start from one end and work his way back, and then backfill as he goes, all right?
Okay.
And then he's gonna provide a seating, regrade the area and seating.
What does the pipe consist of now?
Regrade,
It's probably a steel pipe, I bet you.
seed.
No, the house is not that old. It's most likely, the assumption is it's a plastic pipe underneath there, and somehow it's, we don't know what happened, it cracked, whatever. It picks up dirt every now and then and
So
brings it
you don't
into
know
the house.
exactly where the location of the
No, and
break
that's
is.
why the pipe has to go from well to house.
What, you also need our wetlands inspector, after you install your silt fence, before you start work, but after you install
No,
silt
hold on a
fence.
second, if you remind me,
Yes.
do we need the spill kit, the machine to be stored on
While you
poly,
have a
sequence
machine
of construction, and there was the last item.
regrade the area and provide seating.
Add a note that you're going to
Add
be
a
doing
note that
that.
you're gonna be doing that. And that a silt fence, I mean, I don't know where you're putting the silt fence.
So he's got-
Exactly, the
it
silt
should be on
fence is gonna
both
be more of a
sides.
guide just to maintain everybody within the disturbed,
I'll tell you what,
area of
It
disturbance.
should be on both sides of the whole trench.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
All right,
I kinda suggested that to Jack when I was talking to him. I said, you go in 90-degree you cross the contours, the silt fence is not gonna work. He said, no, we want just a guide to guide the people which way to go and maintain them within the
This is
disturbed
stream
area.
and pond.
We'll put it on
What
both
are we doing
sides.
So what are we
Okay.
doing
we'll
with
just put a
the,
silt fence right across it, no big deal.
no, but they're gonna be digging this out.
He's digging on this side and this side, and he's gonna lay the pipe in there and use this as a pipe chase.
This
to
is
go through.
48 inches down, though. So he's gonna be digging into
Are you
the
gonna
stream.
dam the stream and then pump the stream over while they dig?
We're gonna have to, yeah, because otherwise the whole trench is gonna be filled with water.
So you gotta
The
provide.
stream the stream, by the way, is an overflow of the pond. It is not always running.
It's not
So
always
it-
running.
It's intermittent.
Intermittent stream.
Provide details on the stream, okay?
Okay,
In this letter. Get the letter to us tomorrow, and if it's okay with the board, I mean, I don't wanna see people go without water.
Hold on, there's others.
Agree to a letter of maintenance.
Permission with some
Specifics.
stipulation.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Wait, fueling as well. So if you're gonna be fueling,
no.
well, if
If
you're
the
having.
thing runs out of
right.
Fuel it off and
You
then
need to
drive.
If a
Fuel it
machine
off.
cannot dig that trench on one tank of a fuel, then you throw that machine
You
out.
never see, depends on the operator,
Just add
You
a
know,
note, add
it's-
a note saying fueling will be done
off-site.
off-site. So if they need
You
to
got it.
fuel, you put them in the driveway, you put it on the road, and then you fuel it there. Don't bring the fuel into the pond area.
No problem.
Out of buffer.
Okay.
What else?
The problem,
Any, there's no, are you gonna be putting any sort of fill or gravel in, or are you just backfilling with the stuff you're pulling out?
We get backfill with the stuff you
Do we
put on.
wanna
So,
make
Unless it's all bony and rocky,
No,
then
you're
we
gonna
put a bed
fill
of
it back
sand
in.
underneath there, put the water main in the bed of sand.
So if they bring in sand to put underneath the main, underneath the water main, do they need to provide clean fill, or what?
sand.
No, it's sand. Believe me, that sand is gonna be $40 a yard.
It's either pipe sand or gravel.
Well, exactly, it's gonna be very clean, and it's gonna be put in by hand as thin as possible.
You're replacing the pipe with the same size pipe?
Yes, 2-inch. It's a standard 2-inch pipe, well lined. It's one unit, one piece. Then the pipe is flexible and it comes in a roll. There's no joints in it. I bet you this pipe that they have in there, they have joints in it with the length. With the older
Somebody
one.
forgot to glue it.
Exactly, and one of them probably fell apart, but we don't know where it is. In order for you to find it, you gotta dig the whole thing.
All right, so then, with, anybody else have any other questions? I'm just gonna I suggest that this just be a letter of maintenance.
Are you going to be on the
The trees will just,
river, the stream itself? So it looks like that currently is, walls there's stone walls on either side
On what?
of the stream?
That's what are existing. They've been done and they
You're gonna
exist.
be breaking through that.
Yeah, they just like the dry stones just sitting there, no cement.
There's no cement, and
no
so you're
cement,
and you're
no
putting those
concrete,
back in
yeah.
place afterwards?
Yes, absolutely. They were done, that's like, the area is like done, that's more of a landscape.
Sure.
And the owner's gonna like bring it back to where it was before.
All right, so in your sequence of construction,
Uh-huh.
you just have to make sure that it spells out very clearly from the start to the end, what is gonna be doing. So digging this trench, you know, you're using the machines, you're digging the trench, you get to the stream, you're gonna be damming the stream,
Yeah.
pumping, you're gonna be breaking the stone up, and then after you're done, put the stone back. Regrading both the whole trench as well as the lower grading of the stream, all that kind of stuff. Silt fence along the whole way.
We're gonna do
Sp-
that in
spill
a
kit
letter
should be
format
brought along
and
the whole way.
letter format along with the revised drawings reflecting that.
Sure.
Yes.
Is there anything in the utility easement?
No, not, that's just,
Nothing
in-
that you
file.
know about, or is there nothing?
not that we know about, no.
Did you submit a deed to the file? Or
The owner is away on business, and when he comes back, we will give it to Rose.
So then you're not gonna start this till, what, next week?
Like I said, you know, the weather right now has been like,
Yeah, I mean,
It's cold.
I don't wanna offend anybody, baby, it's cold outside.
So that'll be another condition, is you have to submit the
All
deed
right,
to
so
the
then
file.
here's,
We'll try, hopefully tomorrow we'll get in touch with him and have him, email it or whatever, we'll get it to Rose.
because
We are aware of the need for the deed.
we're ready for it, you just let her make
You don't have to
right?
get the deed, you don't have to wait for the owner to get the deed.
I know, I can go to the county building, but he's coming back tomorrow, saves me a trip to the
Okay.
county.
Is anything going on with the well at all, aside from just the pipe hookup?
No, the well is okay. As a matter of fact, this is off the record. They are,
It is being recorded.
Being taped,
On the
don't worry
record.
about it.
they're gonna investigate of drilling a new well and outside the wetland buffer, so this work may not take place. There's a small chance that this work may not take place.
In other words, they're gonna estimate if they need something like that, and if they do, then
Exactly. They
Got
wanna
it.
get estimates and
Okay.
see and compare the cost between, and also they need to address the location of the well closer to the house, okay, to see how far away it will be from the other septic systems that does not interfere. That's the mean, that has not, but they would like to.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. It's Monty Hall, curtain or box. So what I'm willing to do for you today, it's a one-time offer,
Okay,
is I am willing to give you a letter of maintenance with conditions, okay? To perform the work as shown on these drawings.
Okay.
Okay? You provide by tomorrow, Monday the latest, the list that we're gonna get, that we've given you, and then you will get your letter of maintenance, okay? In the event that you now change course, where you're going to drill a new well, do whatever, at that moment in time, if you're within the 100-foot buffer or in the wetlands, you must come back and reapply.
absolutely, that's a standard procedure. We need a wetland permit for that.
how
Okay.
deep is the existing well, do you know?
Well, I don't know, we have no idea.
Is there a septic system here?
Yes, it's closer to the house up in, I don't know
Show-
exactly where it is.
Do you have an idea?
Tank,
What?
He has it.
tank is on the map, but I
There's
don't,
a tank, you don't know what that is, though.
I mean, the field comes off of there, right? What is, the
Well,
tank on the,
The tank could have been an oil tank, too.
on the south side, bottom south,
The
sorry.
south side
southwest,
of the
southwest
house?
prop- Yeah, right south of the house, there's a tank. Do you know if that's
It
the,
says tank.
is that an oil tank or is that a?
No, that's
Septic?
probably a propane tank for the generator.
So do
Well,
you,
it
you don't
says
have any idea where the,
generator,
you don't have any idea where the septic tank is?
No,
It's-
we did not investigate that.
The
This came
well
in at
had-
last minute.
The well has to be how many feet from the septic?
100 feet.
100 feet.
Right,
And if it's in the direct line of a drainage of another septic, it has to be 200 feet away.
okay.
Okay, so Jack is gonna investigate the potential of, with the separation distances, and if that's doable, it's really a very highly, possibility that they will go with that.
Okay.
Is the circular, item along the path of the trench, is that a fire pit or something? There's a,
Yes, that's the fire pit, that's the circle opposite the stone wall there?
Maybe
That's a
where
fire
the
pit,
water's
yes.
leaking from.
I think, I mean, it looks
It
like
would be
it.
helpful if we had the
It-
septic system location.
Show approximate, you know where the tank is.
I
Show
mean,
the
you know what,
septic
we
tank.
investigate that, we could put that on the plan, I mean,
Yeah,
you know, we
I
can
think
add
you
that to the
should.
plan, the approximate location of
That'd
septic
be
and well.
fine. Okay? All right, so
I
with
mean, not well,
that,
but septic.
with that, I make a motion to grant a letter of maintenance to James Downey for 452 Austin Road to repair the electric service and the water line from the house to the well with the minor landscaping associated with it, with the following conditions. Number one is provide a spill kit on site while the machine is operating. Provide a sequence of operation of how the work is going to be done. If the machine is left on site overnight, the machine shall be stored on 6 mil poly. Regrade the area and seed the area upon completion. If it's in the winter time, wait till the spring. Silt fence should be installed both sides of the trench so that the machine can get in and out. Provide the details on how you cross in the stream or stopping the stream from watering, from running. If it's running.
If it's running.
If it's running. Provide a note that the fueling will be done off-site. Notify the wetland inspector prior to the start of work and upon the completion of work, so that he can inspect that everything is done. Provide us a copy of the deed and show the septic tank / fields on the map, on the drawing.
Okay.
All right? So if you get that to us by Monday, you'll get your permit.
Okay.
So do I have a motion
I make
to
that
accept
motion.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Monday,
Monday it is, or before. I'll
Yeah.
or
have,
before.
I'll talk to Jack if he's done with the meeting tonight, we'll get it to the draftsman on.
So what will happen is you submit it, Rose will send an email to us and let us know. We'll take a look through the file, say it all looks good, and then.
Listen, I'm going for a letter of maintenance because
Hey,
it's
thank
a-
you, we appreciate
it's a-
that,
it's a
it
life
makes more
health-
sense.
It's a life health issue,
exactly.
so.
All right, everybody, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
very happy holiday, Merry
as
Christmas.
well.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
See ya. He lied to you, it was more than
Yeah,
10
we-
minutes.
Yeah, get Jack.
Okay, next is
Bender and
Bender and Stasikowicz.
Sikowicz.
Did I get close? All right, 37 Tamarack Road, construct a new deck and entry porch. Could you please state your name for the record and who you here to represent?
I'm David Graham, architect, working for the Benders.
And I'm Jenny Stasikowicz.
Hello, how are you?
So the reason we're here tonight is their house is on 37 Tamarack Road, and we were planning on doing 3 things that were within the wetlands. One was build a 4x6 entry porch roof with 2 columns that would sit on top of the existing masonry stoop. Build a 14 by 22 deck at the rear lakeside of the property that would be pervious, it's, it's AZEK and it's got the gaps in between. And it sits on 3 6x6 columns that would be sitting on the existing stone walls to the rear. And the third thing is they're exploring, they were thinking of moving the oil tank to above grade to the side of the house on a 4x8 concrete pad. So that's the third thing that's part of this application.
Okay, all right, so let's start at one thing at a time, all right? So with the deck and with the, I see you have your silt fence along the back of the house, which is perfect. There's gonna be no heavy equipment to perform this work, correct?
Well, we're not planning on digging any footings,
Okay.
yeah.
We gotta do some.
Well, they're gonna get a concrete mixer for the concrete pad, to the side of the house. They'll put it in the front yard and,
Oh, they'll do a hand mix,
yeah.
okay. And the,
But we don't need any footings for the other stuff.
so the 4x6, the 14 by 22, and the 4x8 pad, are you proposing any rain garden down near the lake or anything for the drain?
Well, the only new impervious
Is the 4x8?
is the footprint of I'm saying approximately 4 by 8. I think the existing tank now is 3 by 6, so I say 4 by 8. We had not planned on it.
It's like minimal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's de minimis.
I mean, for
It's like 30
32
square feet.
I'm not gonna.
We can't go to the mattresses on that.
No, we can't. Can't. But there's no roof on this deck, correct?
No,
On any, except for the entrance to the front of the house?
right, but that's already on top of an existing masonry stoop and steps, which is impervious.
Right.
That's pretty
It
visible.
shows
What's the net impervious then?
32 square feet.
That's the pad, that's,
That's the oil tank.
right.
So now, where is the existing oil tank now?
It's adjacent, it's on this, in the unfinished basement, adjacent to, just inside the
Okay, so
house.
it's in the basement?
Yeah.
All right. And you're gonna put a brand-new outdoor tank?
That's what we're exploring. We're talking to a couple of different contractors, and one is recommending that we keep it in the house, and another contractor is recommending that we put it outside.
Okay, because if you put it outside, my suggestion to you would make it a double wall type tank.
Yeah, that's what we've been
A-
talking
a-
about.
A steel
Yeah.
tank with a bathtub around it, because
Yeah.
God forbid that thing ruptures, you have a
Yeah, yeah.
path right to Lake Mayapack.
Yeah, no.
If you leave it in the basement right now and replace the tank with a new one, you have less weather on that tank, and it may last longer than leaving it outside. But that's completely your call on that.
Yeah,
Is the tank in good shape, the one that's in the basement?
The inspector says it's beginning to show something underneath. So two of the vendors said we should replace the tank. One of the vendors didn't even look. So I'm thinking,
What happened was, because we were coming before you, I thought it would be prudent to, because it's sort of, we might be doing that.
case, sure.
to Talk
But
about
here's the
it.
thing, are you gonna leave it in the basement, or are you gonna put it up the top? Or do you just wanna have
haven't
it?
decided
Have
it.
the choice?
The-
Because I can't give you a
It's gonna be
permit
outside.
on,
No, we're planning on putting it outside.
okay, so that's the plan. All right,
Where?
It's shown on the site plan?
it says septic tank.
No, it says relocate above-ground oil tank, concrete slab.
Oh, I see it.
Where's
It's
it?
on the left-hand side of the property,
Yeah, there's
right by the garage.
Okay, yeah.
there's
okay.
2 garden walls, and it creates a level plateau, so we were gonna just put it on that plateau.
Yeah, you may pay, it just pays to double wall it.
You're gonna have it outside, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's what they were.
Well, it's gonna be exposed to the
Yeah.
weather, so.
Yeah,
And then the only other thing is in the winter, when it's cold out, and they'll tell you, you need winter fuel, because it may gel on.
Sure.
It'll,
I've done a few of these in my,
okay, you've been to the rodeo.
so, I mean, guys, they're showing silt fence, they're just doing some lumber work.
Fence here,
I really don't see, there's a sequence of operation.
and it's already, the enclosed porch already has impervious under it, correct?
Yeah,
It's in
there's
the
a
same
full
footprint.
basement. There's a full basement, and it's glassed in. We're just changing the windows and adding heat.
So, is this all, I assume that all this then is done, there's nothing here that needs to not be done by hand, right?
Yeah,
It's all handwork.
it's all handwork.
Is the septic system, is that a trench?
There's a tank
Yeah, I
that
understand.
goes down to a junction
But is the leaching
box.
field a trench, or what is it?
It's a tank, because there's a field. It's
Yeah,
on
what's
same
the field? I know the tank, what's the field? Is it a field of trench, or what is it?
Trench.
Or a field?
We can accept this.
The way you have it described here, it looks like it's a trench.
What happened is Mayapack Septic went out, because they recently bought the house, and they did the thing with the cameras, and then they gave me a diagram where they showed a tank, a junction box, and a linear.
Yeah, it's probably a
Okay, it's
receiving
a linear,
box.
so it's in a trench.
Yeah, they showed a linear element.
The reason why I'm asking is because you only show one trench here, and that's pretty unusual to have only one trench.
This here.
No, this here.
Oh,
Yeah, the house was built in 1945. And it could be that's a.
That could be
a
just a
leak space.
junction box, and there may be another junction box
Well, he said,
down.
he said they went out and investigated with a camera and everything else. They must have found it.
They must have one junction box then.
Yeah, but look, there's
The
only one,
T-box?
there's only one
But the
trench.
junction box, there's only one line discharging from a septic tank. It's when it gets to the junction box.
I've designed them, I know where they are. But the fact of the matter is, there's only one trench here shown, and that's what I was saying was unusual. That's why I was asking the question.
Oh.
Because it's very unusual to have only one trench. And he said they went out to look, and they did, they would have a camera and everything. And so they must have found them all, but they're only showing one. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just unusual to have only one trench.
Okay.
It's not very reliable to have one trench. And
Well, you don't
he
have
really
an
pretty much
as-built, so
explained
we
it, but he
don't-
said if the thing was built in 1940s, that's probably okay at that time. If
It's-
you want to do that today, I don't think you'd get approval on it.
No.
Yeah, it would be a 75A at that time,
What?
75A standard for a septic.
All right. So I think that the area disturbance is so minimal. It's my opinion.
What about the enclosed, what about the new porch? Porch is 23 and a half by 14.
It's over existing impervious.
It's over existing impervious.
It's over all of that is under that existing impervious?
Existing stone wall. That whole
The
stone
stone
wall.
wall, yeah, but what,
The stone wall, the area between the house and the stone wall, that's concrete or
What is that?
slate?
It's a
or-
planting area.
it's a planting.
Oh,
area.
it's not impervious.
It's not impervious.
Right now,
Oh,
where
but
the
the deck is, got a board and then a gap and
Yeah,
another
we
board.
understand how decks are made, sure.
So it's a current deck. Right now, it's a deck.
No, right now
No,
it's
right
nothing.
now it's,
Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. And they're gonna put a deck over it.
Got it. So that does increase.
Yes,
impervious.
that's impervious.
Yes, yes, yes. So what does that bring the size up to? It's not 42.
It's
What is the
14
size of
by
this?
22.
It's 22, it's 23 and a half by 14.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the deck is going to be consisting of what kind of material?
AZAC.
Okay. And it's going to have a separation between?
Yeah.
the- So
Where-
the water will go through it and
Yeah.
into the ground? Okay.
Otherwise, it's a nightmare, ice and
Enclosed.
snow.
He said it's gonna be enclosed porch.
Not the.
No, this
No.
is enclosed existing.
It's
This is
300
Oh, no,
proposed,
the-
line here.
Vince, it's
In the
three-
house, adjacent to the deck, there's a porch.
Yes, it's
That-
enclosed.
Yeah.
All right, so Vince,
That's
the entire impervious area of this is less than 400 square feet.
That's, okay, that's fine with me.
Would you do you think we should have a rain garden with this?
We've always, when somebody put in a deck, even whether it's, they're always pervious, there's always, room between the slats. We had required.
Right, no, of course.
A rain garden.
But I'm wondering, where would you put, like, if they're putting in this deck, right, and it's not like they're catching any water and filtering it anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going,
Can
it
we,
doesn't like it in the roof.
what are your leaders right now off where do off your existing, house, the roof leaders for the water that comes off your roof, do you know where they go? Do they go underground and out to the lake? Do they just flood into
They're-
the yard?
They're splash blocks.
Pardon?
I believe they're splash blocks.
Where are the splash blocks located? You said the leaders are out there, that's what it looks like. That's the rear of the house now?
This is where we're putting the porch over. That's the front.
That's the front, okay. Where's the rear?
Behind it.
Sterling.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Sorry, okay.
Okay, here we go. And now,
And everybody else.
You keep getting better pictures here. Splash blocks, you say, huh?
That's what I'm assuming. That's the area.
So this is the area that's gonna become
right,
your new deck?
Yeah, what we're doing is putting a column and a column.
right, yeah, I can see that.
And these leaders, do they just, are they enter into
I'm
the
not sure.
surface?
I'm not sure where they are.
The reason I'm asking is, what we typically do is if there's an increase in pervious surface, especially this close to the lake, we ask for, something called a rain garden, which is a small little
Can I see the?
garden area that is filled with vegetation that is better at filtering water that comes off of roofs, comes off of impervious surface. It's to help mitigate the fact that we are removing some area that
Some
would have been
plantings.
used for when rain hits it to be filtered. Literally filters the water and then goes into the. So instead, because we're removing some of that area that is used as a filter, natural filter, we typically ask to put a rain garden in, which again is just a small garden that is filled with,
here's the
wetland
problem.
plants.
How do they get the piping to the?
Right, so then my question is, right now, if looking at these
Right,
pictures.
right now, they weep it out through the wall.
Ah, I see,
They weep it out through the wall
Are,
from the
are,
photos.
but could that just be from the actual, like, do you think that the surface,
I-
we're not sure.
So
I
Vince,
don't know.
let me just throw this out there, right? So I'm building a deck over that stone, you're leaving the stone wall there, correct? The amount of water that's gonna filter through the deck on a rainy day will then enter that garden and then filter through there and leave. It's my opinion that they don't need a rain garden, because we're not catching any other water, only adding a small thing up front.
It's de minimis,
It's
yeah.
the minute, it's such a small amount.
Okay, what, you just, we've set a precedent where someone comes in that builds a deck over a pervious area, whether it's elevated or not, or drained or not, requires a rain garden. That's,
Okay,
if
but
you go
my
back.
question to you is this then, where do I then, how do I route the water?
Are you removing any
there.
of these weep drains?
No.
These weep pipes? Why don't we ask for that down below? Right below where the weep drains are gonna be going. The water's gonna be going through the slatted boards, come through here. There's no reason
It's
you
gonna be a
can't put.
small, it's gonna be
Sure.
a small,
Yeah,
Yeah, just a small garden right in front of here.
That's fine.
It looks,
When you say garden, you mean like, because you can plant a garden, I mean,
yeah, not a vegetable garden.
not
but-
a vegetable, but
Right.
flowers and
But-
bushes and.
so there are specific plants that can go in it, but you can get very nice looking.
If
Yeah.
that's the final consensus of the board,
That's,
do I have to go away and come back?
no, we'll accept the
Okay.
application, and then you have by next you have 2 meetings, you can submit between now and next meeting your rain garden calculations, right, but within a week, right? And then they can be part of the file for people to review, and then when we come here in 2 meetings, we look at it, we make sure that the town engineer blesses it.
And if
What
we
the-
didn't have a rain garden, we wouldn't have to wait all that time?
No, you
have
still
to
do
wait
have to
anyway,
wait.
'cause you're going for a
Oh,
permit.
we're on
You're on
Clock,
a 30-day,
yeah.
30 to 45-day clock.
okay. So within the time that it would have taken if there wasn't a rain garden, if we have our act together,
if you get it,
And we
if you get
s-
in soon, yes.
and we submit to you an appropriate design, that it would be reviewed and then would be approved as part of the approved package.
Correct.
So you'd make a conditional approval.
The earliest you're gonna get a permit is the first of the year. Because
First
this year,
meeting of the
the
year.
first of, in 2019, you'll be the first permit we give out.
When did you plan on doing the work?
As soon as we can, you know. They just bought the house and they sold their other
Yeah,
house.
regardless of the conditions we set, we
You
have to
could
wait
still
2
move into
weeks.
the house.
We have to wait 2 meetings. Put a public notice out, make sure nobody has any
Oh,
concerns.
so they're not gonna
Natural.
get it right away anyhow.
The typical,
Whatever you have before us, okay, outside of perhaps the oil tank, unless that's a problem already, which is beyond our control, we're not gonna hold you up.
Yeah.
Because you can move into the house, except for perhaps the oil tank.
well, we submitted a separate permit to the building department with things that are in the house.
Okay,
And then
but,
we
yeah,
did a separate package, which were things outside the house.
we have no control over that.
And I was at the Board of Health, and they were happy with everything, it's just getting through the steps, so that's.
Right.
Listen, if you need an oil tank, I'm not gonna hold you up for changing, I'm not gonna
Right.
kill you for an oil tank, that's part of whatever.
They need to dig a trench for that, did we?
Yeah, no,
As
that's
chairman of the
copper
Lake,
above ground.
Fine.
as chairman of the Lake Mayapack Park District, we prefer the oil tank in the basement. Okay, I'm just wondering, I have to say that, it's my job.
So,
Okay.
with rain gardens, if you do go up to the planning department, and see
They can coach me?
they have this little nice packet that which is an introduction to rain gardens by Cooperative Kernel Extension. What we mean by rain garden is, yes, of course. Like I said, it's literally like a little bit of a divot. And you plant some specific plants in there that are very good about filtering water. That filtering rainwater, filtering oils from the surface, anything like that.
I'll be sure to.
Sure. The one stipulation is, so
Just the type of plants.
Okay.
the one technical part of rain gardens, and this is one of the important parts for anyone who's considering putting a rain garden in, is the rain garden you design needs to be adequate for the water that's gonna be going into it. Meaning to say, right, if somebody's building a new house, and you put these leaders on, have this roof, it's a lot of water that can come off that roof in a rainstorm. Goes through the pipes, you wanna make sure that the rain garden you've built isn't going to be flooded and washed away. It's gotta be of a certain size. So our town engineer reviews and makes sure that whatever size rain garden, that it's gonna be fine with the water that you've calculated. And in this packet, if you go up to the town board, the building department, it explains the calculation, but you can also look for it online. It's a pretty standard calculation of what's the area. In this case, it would be the area of your deck.
Conceptually, if you have, you had an area when it rained, the water came down and it landed in that planter.
Sure.
Universally everywhere. Now we have a series of slats with gaps in the middle.
Yeah.
so it
We
lands-
consider it as impervious surface because you're eliminating the open
It's
areas.
concentrating.
It's
You're
concentrating
concentrating
to the little, you're only looking at a rain garden of whatever the size of the deck is. So
It's also an impact water quality problem, okay? Because what you're doing is gonna affect the runoff quality somewhat, okay? So we have to try to mitigate that in other ways.
So in the sequence of work, would that be something that would have to be put in before we start, or that would be something we
No,
do
that
at
would
the
be
end?
put in at the end.
And then you're gonna have that condition of the final inspection to make sure we did everything.
Well, here's the deal. You're gonna be doing this work in the winter, so I don't think you're gonna be planting a rain garden, because your permit's for 1 year, right? So you're gonna build your deck this winter, and in the spring, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna put your rain garden in, and then the job is done.
And then you call the
And then
inspector, he comes and looks
You
and
call
says
the
you're good.
wetland inspector, he says, yeah, everything's here, we're good to go, shows you the secret handshake, and you move on.
Okay.
Okay, can I just add, I'm looking at another potential problem here, and I'm trying to anticipate it for your sake. And that is, you said something about you planned on putting a rain garden in front of that, I mean, not a rain garden, but a garden, okay?
I didn't recommend any location. Somebody on the board
Okay.
said, why don't you put it out?
Well,
That was me.
I'm sorry, but you had said something about you had planned on putting one.
Well, of course, it's a property, you want to landscape it.
Okay, but no, you were planning putting a garden, did you have any?
It was in respect of when I said
Respect
that.
of what he
She
said.
said, oh, we just can put a garden there. and then
She
I'll
just said,
put a rain garden.
Okay.
generically,
But-
they'll be upgrading the gardening.
Okay, the problem that I'm anticipating you may have, okay, is that your septic trench goes right in front of that particular wall. Now, I don't think it'll be a problem as long as the trench is deep enough, okay, so that you don't start digging around, even if you were gonna just put a garden there because you wanted to put a garden there, okay, if the trench is too shallow, you might hit that trench. So that's something you might want to take into consideration about what the location is, whether you're going to put in a rain garden or a regular garden, okay, in order to do that, that's all. Since it's been in there for a long time, it's probably pretty deep, it should be pretty deep, but,
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to accept the application for Dean Bender and Jenny, thank you, Stasikevich, for 37 Tamarack Road, Mayapack, New York, to install new deck atop existing stone wall, new entry porch, and modify the oil tank. Do I have a motion to accept the application?
Did you notice the sequence of construction in there?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All right, you're on the clock.
Good luck with your new home.
Okay.
And just remember, you're looking at the deck for as far as the rain garden calculations go.
So whatever the size of the deck
Yeah,
is, they'll say,
I'll
you know, it's.
scope this out. Thank you.
whatever that
Okay,
is.
with that, we have meeting minutes, 11/118. Everybody can vote except for you. So do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes for 11/118?
Wait a minute, can we accept, there's only 3 of us that can actually, oh,
All
4 of us.
present.
Right.
Do
I make a motion, all right,
I have a
second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
It's a trick, I just wanted to be the one who.
Oh,
That's okay.
oh, good.
Just
okay.
to follow the
I
bouncing
wasn't that good at
beam.
math either.
So with that, again, I would like to welcome you to the board. And do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Go ahead, you can make that motion, go do it. I'll make that motion. Want
You
to
second it?
Second.
Okay, good.
All in favor?
Now you enjoy.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay.